Kelly Bridges. Wow, that's the name I heard.
Check it out.
Yes.
Mary White.
Mary White.
Breaking ground. Nobody else was doing it. It was something different, and you knew it.
Once it comes up, it's still
Youngman
good.
3 presents Summer Jam.
They're sure you want to get in. And it just was one of these moments in my life that I will never forget.
Who out there thinks they're the next Fabio?
Because we did stuff that you can't do now.
So tune in August 1st, only on Rainier Avenue Radio to hear the story.
Hey, is that on demand, the Q93 thing?
Ever.
The Q thing?
Yeah, is that on demand, like on your website?
It's going to air for the first time this weekend. Then we'll be after that. It's Friday at 10:30, Saturday 9:30, Sunday 6 o'clock. It'd be dope if you guys can plug that somewhere in the show.
Family-friendly, educational, or cultural event coming up? Tell us about it. If you have news to share, contact us by emailing rainieravenueradio.world@gmail.com. Once again, please email us at rainieravenueradio.world@gmail.com.
Okay, you're on after this one.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not stopping a Mercer Island street brawl, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.
I don't care.
Mike's on.
Mike's on. Oh, they're on.
Gotta wait for the music. Uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
Gangsta enough for this.
We all set here?
We are.
What's up, everybody? This is Urban World Talk Live with your boy Teri and Anthony Adams, and also joining us again this week. So nice she had to have it twice, Miss Ashley King.
Hey, what's up,
Put some
Ashley?
respect on my name.
That was some respect.
No,
Yes.
thanks for having me back. I enjoyed myself last time, so I was happy to come back and do it again.
And you, Miss Ashley. Now, I want to thank everybody for joining us here on Facebook Live and on rainieravenueradio.world. And I want everybody to take a little time. If you are joining us on Facebook Live, go ahead and hit that like button and the share button because it does a world of help for the show. So go ahead and hit the like button and share button. Bring all the people to the conversation with us. We have a guest that's coming on her way.
Yeah, she got caught up in some traffic. She's a guest of mine.
Internet model sensation on the way.
We're going to butcher her name, so we got to ask her to say it.
It's a very, very fancy name.
Yes.
Very fancy name.
Yes,
but she will be on the show.
She'll be with us. Yeah.
In a few minutes here. She's running a little bit late with some traffic, but she will be on. So we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about the ladies, though. It's always a hot topic with us on this show. We love the ladies. We love the ladies. We love to talk about them. We want to talk about a little bit about the beauty standards, the double standards, the misconceptions that happen with a lot of ladies, especially the young ladies who's joining us, and Miss Ashley King is going to help us a lot with that as well. And of course, any of the ladies that you experience life with, and if you guys are watching, we want you guys to comment and continue to comment with us on all of our different topics that we have going on throughout the show. A couple of the items that we are going to talk about today, we do want to talk a little bit about the Serena Williams incident with her black suit being banned, cat suit being banned. But unfortunately, like we've had to start a lot of these shows, we do want to start with, we're getting our guest right now. Anthony Adams is going to go grab our guest and bring her on into the studio. But we are going to start the show on an unfortunate note, like we've started a few shows, and that's talking about an unfortunate shooting that just took place. You know, we want to send all of our the well wishes to the families and the prayers to the families of the people that were involved in the tragedy in Jacksonville shooting over the weekend. It was a Madden tournament.
Right, of all things. It's not like it was an aggressive game or, one of those shooting violent games. My son plays football. I mean, that's...
Everybody plays football. It's Madden.
It's supposed to be fun.
Right, and so what happened is, if you guys haven't heard in the news, unfortunately, the tragedy over the weekend in Jacksonville was a tournament for Madden. The EA Sports video game Madden is a football game. Where people just go there and they were having fun. You can make some money at these tournaments too. People were going down there and you play the games, and it's a tournament and people just go there and have fun. I guess there was a kid who went there. He had been a champion before in that tournament, and I guess he went there, lost, and then came back, shot up everybody. I think 10 people got injured, 2 people got killed.
Yeah, they said that he targeted specific people because he walked into like a restaurant or a bar, or wherever it was, and specifically like pinpointed people.
Well, and that's right. And the thing is, a lot of people, you know, after these kind of situations, with certain types of people that do these kind of killings, you start hearing a lot of, you know, different people make excuses, right? Like, oh, he had these problems, he was mental. The fact of the matter is, the guy brought a gun to the Madden tournament.
Right.
So he was planning on taking somebody.
And it wasn't like he had some gun you keep in the closet. I read the story. He had a serious gun. I can't remember exactly. I'm not a gun person. Right. But it wasn't some just pocket gun he had.
No. He came there with the intent to take some people out. And, you know, unfortunately, he was able to do that. But, I mean, it's just another day, another gun tragedy, mass shooting. I mean, what do you think? What do you think needs to be done with something like this to prevent something like this? You got kids, I got kids.
You know, my son plays football. You know, he actually plays athletically, like on a team, and he also plays the game. You know, and he has the online programs where you can play against other people. And I monitor that like a hawk. I'm that mom because I don't, you know, these type of situations. The kid was obviously upset. I don't know what can be done. I feel like, you know, like you said, people make excuses, but that's a whole other Pandora box. Why was this mentally unstable person able even to purchase this gun?
Right, able to purchase it.
That's what I don't understand.
You know, able to get his hands on it. You know,
how did he get it to Florida?
Right,
because he's not from there. They said he flew down there for that. Was it Florida?
Yeah, it was Jacksonville. So that's in Florida. So I mean,
so how did he even get it there?
He got it. He got it there. He somehow got it in there. And like I said, the intent was obviously there to do some harm. And it's just, I mean, it's just you wish and you hope with so many of these things happening, hundreds of these mass shootings happening year round, and it's always the same story. It'll happen. People are shocked. They're sad. They're outraged. They cry about it. They pray about it. And then, you know, we'll have a debate about gun laws and things of that nature. And then the next thing you know, nothing happens, and then we go on about our business.
Yeah, same superheated, essentially.
Right. Well, I want to welcome back Anthony Adams and our guest here today, Miss Esmer, right?
Esmer is fine.
Esmer. Okay, so I've been going over. I've been seeing the name. I've been looking at it. I've been wanting to say it. So Esmer, welcome to the show, Urban World Talk Live. Miss Esmer's here, and sorry to bring you in on such a heavy thing, but we were talking about the shooting that happened earlier this past weekend.
The Madden
at the Madden tournament. Did you
I don't think I'm familiar with that.
Right. It was just it's a tournament, video game tournament where kids and adults alike, they all go there. They go and it's a tournament. They play. A kid who had won before lost, and he shot people. So another, you might not have heard of that situation. And then shot himself like you usually have.
Like always.
Yeah.
He cowered way out.
It's unfortunate what happened. The funny thing about it is like the NRA, of course, comes out and says, well, if you had security here, this wouldn't be here. Which, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer with the smartest kid in the class, but I'm pretty sure that's almost victim blaming. I mean, listen, I've been to gaming conventions, I've been to Comic-Cons. The last thing that goes to my mind is, I wonder if I'm going to get shot while I'm here.
Should be.
Right. Especially for that.
Yeah, it's just crazy, so.
Right. I don't, Miss Esmer, I don't know. Have you ever had any experience with anything like that? Have you ever been to, I know a lot of schools, a lot of situations, have you ever had anybody involved in anything like that?
No, not personally, but I used to teach like some camps with kids, and I did have like a really intense discussion with them about that, about like this really realistic like generational fear of being shot for going to school.
Right.
And like a lot of kids are facing that right now, of like the really real fear that no one can protect you, that your parents and your teachers and the government won't protect you from this.
It's unfortunate, and it's something that's a problem, man. It's just it keeps happening year in, year out, and we don't ever see any end to it. Anyways, we don't want to linger on that too long.
No.
Yeah.
It was a definite tragedy that happened, and we want to wish the well wishes to everybody and prayers to all the victims involved in that tragedy. We want to welcome everybody who's just now joining us. If you're just now joining us on Facebook Live or RainierAvenueRadio.world, this is Urban World Talk Live, and we got a lot of discussion, a lot of conversations going on today. Myself, Teri Youngman, Anthony Adams, Ashley King, who's returning, and Miss Esmer. If you're checking her out, she's here, internet sensation model. We're going to be talking to her a little bit about it.
She's going to be sharing her story. That's how we do around here. It's a family environment.
Talk about it.
We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. It's a family environment.
All right, guys.
Yes.
I'm saying the video's lagging. Sorry if the video's lagging. We got A lot of stuff going on in the studio right now, so bear with us if it's a little lag time. It might be a little late, but you're going to keep up with what we're saying. You're going to keep up. We're going to make sure you guys get involved. So go ahead and comment if you can, and we'll definitely get to your comments when you guys send them in. So also we want to talk about, and this goes a little bit with some of the stuff we're going to be talking about later with how women are perceived and things like that, and how some of the ways, the double standards of what's going on with women. Over the other thing that happened over the weekend was Serena Williams.
Oh, yes. So
did you hear anything about Serena Williams?
I'm so uninformed right now.
Okay, so
we're going to get you there.
So Serena Williams has always been known for wearing her traditional black cat-like suit whenever she plays tennis. You know, women, they mostly wear like skirts or whatever. She's always worn it. She's been wearing this for years. And now she's going to, is it the French Open or is it
the French Open?
The French Open. And they're saying that suit is banned now.
They banned the suit.
They're trying to ban it.
She can't wear it.
She can't wear it. And it's like, it's funny because like I look at it, I'm like, she's been wearing that suit for so many years and you guys are just now trying to put a ban on this thing. I mean, I don't have an issue with her wearing it at all, but at the same time, it's not like anything is being exposed.
Well, before we get really into what we all really think about it, her response also needs to be brought up.
What was her response?
She responded.
Medically necessary.
Well, it was something that was medical, but she did respond to it. She wasn't tripping. She said, "Look." She said, you can take the superhero out of the super suit, but you can't take the superpowers from the superhero. And it was something that Nike had reposted and put out there for, because, it's something that happened, and she was wearing it. It was a form-fitting outfit that she was wearing. And they banned it. So
and Nike made it, right?
Nike made it. Yeah. But the French Open, they banned it. They said that it's not sticking with the
code of conduct.
Yeah, the code, and they want
code.
she's not she's gotta honor the sport and all this other stuff like that. And respect the sport, I think, is what their exact words to her were about that. Now this is a woman, Serena Williams.
That's to be good at your job, right?
No, you gotta look the way we want you to look, women. Wear what we tell you to, and respect it. Even though we're gonna pay you like not even close to a third of what the men are getting paid for the same sport, but we want you to do what you're supposed to do. Now,
and the funny thing about it too is that Serena is the reason why I even know about tennis all that much anymore. I can't even tell you two men who play right now. I can tell you Andre Agassi, he's long gone, and Andy Roddick or whatever his name was, he's long gone too. So I mean, Serena and Venus, and is Anna Kournikova still playing?
I don't know,
but Serena's the only one I can tell you about.
Well, I want to ask these ladies about something like this, because now this is a sport in tennis where, of course, with most of the lady athletes that play at tennis, they're usually wearing the skirts. I've seen some really short skirts where you can see all the business, a lot of skin showing, all of this and that. Now, when you have this woman who's a new mom too, she just had a baby not too long ago, and she's wearing a fully covered suit. They're saying that's disrespecting the sport, but they're okay with the skin and all. What do you guys, as ladies, what do you guys feel about that, and how that's being done right now, and how that's being spun?
Any strong opinions?
I hate to always
be real about it. Let them know.
That's why we brought you on.
But I feel like it's because of her body type. Like she's been getting talked about for her body type forever. First she was a man. First she was built like a man. Now her body's too feminine. She got too much jiggle going on. I hate it. As a woman who's not skinny.
Nope.
I understand, because I've been in similar situations where me and someone else literally have had the same outfit on. A girl I worked with, we had the same outfit on. And they told me I could not wear it again.
It was a problem when you had.
Did you tell her the same thing? Like, you know what I mean? So I think it's because of her shape, because of her figure, and it's definitely personal.
So you saying she got a little too much junk in the trunk, and that's why?
Is that her fault though? I mean,
that's what. But you think that's
genetics?
I think that's why they call it inappropriate, because it just fits her really well.
Have you ever been in a work or school, any kind of environment that people would consider professional, and have somebody upset at something that you were wearing for one reason or the other?
I don't know if I've ever had quite like that, besides just being in high school and really pushing those boundaries with teachers and stuff like that. But clothing.
How so?
No, back up. No, I was always just is this skirt a little too short? Let's wear it and find out. And the answer was usually yes, and then they make you wear scrubs and stuff like that because it's high school. But Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I've been more on the side of like your tattoos are inappropriate, your piercings are inappropriate, like your I don't know, like your mannerisms or like your language is inappropriate or something like that. And usually that's a reflection of like the way that I look, because people assume you look a certain way and you carry yourself that way too, and that's not true.
So that's usually the way that they get at you, is because of the piercings, the tattoos, and things like that. Well, I also feel like I think that there is a strong component to this. I want to say race in some ways in this whole thing, because it's the French Open and she is one of the only African American superstars there, so that's always got to be looked at as something in that, unfortunately. But I think it's also just a shape issue too. A lot of women, you guys always have something. You're something. You're too big. You're too small. You're too this. You're too something. So, and I think in tennis, especially with a woman shaped like Serena. And I don't want to just say it's a race thing with this shape, because there's a lot of thick white girls out there. You know what I mean? A lot of but I think that once there's a certain amount of jiggle and shape to it, it's no. You know what I mean? And I think that becomes a problem. So I mean, it's a tough situation. Let me look at some of these comments real quick here.
Yeah. All right. So Nikki says, all right. So Lilia says hello. Hey Lilia. G Scoop watching says, hey, what's up, G?
Hey.
Let's see. G says it is medical, having a blood clot issue. I get it. Okay. Yeah, so he's speaking from experience of having. It says, mind you, we've seen all white one-piece suit since the 80s.
But it was medical for her.
It was medical for her.
Yeah, because she had a tough delivery.
Yeah, I think that's what he's agreeing with, that he understands that that's what her situation was.
And then Lydia, of course, says they're stupid. So she's talking about people that are trying to ban this.
Keep it simple, Lydia. I like that. All right. Well, I want to also welcome everybody again on Facebook Live and on RainierAvenueRadio.world. You are listening to Urban World Talk Live, and we are talking with these ladies about women and the situations that you guys deal with every day, with double standards, misconceptions about who you are,
feminism, what you deal with, being your own boss,
and all of that great stuff. And so that's going to lead us right now. I want to talk to Miss Esmer, because she's our lovely guest for the first time today, joining us, and she does a lot of modeling. Why don't you tell the people a little bit about what it is exactly that you do?
Yeah, so I'm a freelance model. I'm my own boss. I manage everything. I book my own shoots. I do all my own networking, and if I travel, which I do, I'm actually going to Portland tomorrow. I book everything, I do everything, and it's just, it can be really overwhelming, but it's also very rewarding knowing that I have full control over everything that I do and all the choices that I make. And I've had people ask to manage me, and that's a hard no, and it just really takes a lot of choice away from you. And because this is it's a creative industry, but they're also a lot of the types of modeling that I do, I sell photos, and so that changes the way that I can sell photos. It changes who I can sell to and what I can sell. And yeah, the most important thing to me always is just knowing that that I'm in control of my own business, essentially.
Right.
Quick question: what led you into the modeling that you do? What inspired you to do it?
For sure. I mean, I think I started originally with doing just very artistic, studio style portraiture shots. But actually, what's interesting is a lot of people that I know that have done modeling started out either doing really simple stuff, and then getting into more less clothing, essentially. But I started the opposite, where I started doing full nude photography, and I worked my way into doing other stuff. But yeah, so it just started off with a bang, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. This is just super empowering, and it's really it's a very special feeling to have a photo of yourself that makes you feel like yourself. It makes you feel really beautiful.
Yeah. Okay, nothing wrong with that at all.
Definitely. I mean, I think that there's such a stigma on modeling, especially because in the world of social media, there's Instagram models, and I think people try to call themselves Snapchat models. I don't understand it. I don't even know how you get to that title. So to be able to stand in that and own it and be proud and really make it a career and not, whatever people do it on Instagram for.
And to that same point, and I think that there's a definite difference in modeling and just, Instagramming and things like that nature. Because when you guys, when we're taking pictures and just having fun, it's one thing. But when you're doing it, you got to get the lighting right, and you got to set things up, and the costumes. I saw some of the stuff that you're doing. It's some stuff. It's, what I'm saying? She's got some stuff. You got to check it out. It's definitely an art form, and it's more to it. So it's not just taking a picture and all of that. So it's definitely, I'm sure it's liberating to know that you're 100% your own person in this as the artist and the producer, manager, everybody, everything. So explain to everybody who might not have ever seen your work. What would you kind of consider? What kind of lane would you say you're in? What's your style?
Yeah, I do a lot of different work. I do like I don't know, kind of like fantasy style modeling that's very like over the top and just like costumes and like interesting makeup and like props and such, and that stuff is always really awesome. But a lot of the stuff that I do is more like photos that I'm selling, so like stripped down sets, like striptease sets, a lot of like lingerie, no clothes at all. There's a lot of different stuff that I do, and I tried to keep it varied because I'm not one-dimensional. My work isn't one-dimensional either. But yeah, the stuff that I'm selling is the nude work. But yeah, I try to make sure that I'm not. I don't know. My portfolio, I think, speaks to me.
Yeah.
It's definitely something that you could see in like a gallery. Is basically some a lot of the work that you've looked at. Like I've looked at it, and I'm like, I could picture this being in like the booklet of like a Kanye West, like Life of Pablo album, stuff like that. Just kind of like that, because you know how artistic Kanye is, like with the type of stuff. I'm like, this looks like this could go with like something that would be in like one of his artistic albums. Like if he was to put out a book, this would be some of the stuff that he might use.
Well, I got a real like gothic, like fantasy like that whole thing. With that, like, you know, that's what I get from that one.
Totally,
definitely, like, you know, Queen of the Underworld. You know? Just some real cool stuff. I mean, it's good. Trust me, it has that vibe, and there's a little bit of darkness to it, but it's sexy at the same time. You know what I mean? Is that kind of what you're going for?
Yeah, I mean, I guess and I think something that's been really important for me, like as my own manager, is building my own brand. Right. So I'm really glad that you see the brand. I spent a lot of time like building.
Now he's gonna have to manage you, so be careful. Trying to work his way in there.
Look, why you gotta put me out there? Why you gotta give all my secrets out there? I got this little card here. I'm gonna go ahead. We ain't gotta get into all of that. We ain't got to get into all of that right now. No, so that's cool. So your work. It's edgy, and it's definitely, you know what I'm saying, it's not you know necessarily what everybody's cup of tea would be. Sure. And so what kind of challenges has that been in your personal life with the kind of work being so out there that you're doing? You know what I mean?
For sure, yeah. It's been really weird, honestly, and because a lot of because I'm very outspoken and I'm very empowered and very
yes you are.
I'm comfortable with myself, so it is. I've run into a lot of obstacles with like people that I know personally, just like not understanding like why I would want to do something like that, or thinking it's just like that's really vain and that has like nothing to do with like being comfortable in your own skin and like and it's been especially like people that I've known from like a long time ago that like I haven't talked to in a long time, and they're just like, who are you? Like what are you doing? And it's hard to convince someone that being naked on the internet is really empowering, and that it is really owning my sexuality and owning myself in ways that others have tried to take from me.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Much more personal level.
Let's listen to some of these comments.
Okay, so Thomas Del Rio, thanks for watching. Thomas says, but he's making a point with Serena, which is very wrong. Okay, understandable. And then Lydia says, huge double standard how women get paid so much less than men. Absolutely. And then Lydia gave you a compliment. She says she's classy, sexy, gothic.
Right.
Thank you.
So you just gonna flirt in front of my face? That's fine. Talk about it later.
All right. I want to once again welcome everybody who's listening on RainierAvenueRadio.world and everybody on Facebook Live. This is Urban World Talk Live. We are talking women. We're talking about misconceptions of women, double standards of women, all that good stuff that women go through. What's a real lady woman power episode? And I want everybody, if you guys are watching the episode right now on Facebook Live, go ahead and hit the like button and the share button. Let's keep the conversation going. Go ahead and continue to comment where you see fit. So you said that's something that you know people have. You know, maybe not the easiest time always dealing with the people in your personal life that you might not see. Have you ever had a relationship be affected by like a personal, like maybe like a romantic relationship? Did anybody have an issue with that? On that,
no,
level?
Actually, not on like a romantic level. My partner is incredibly supportive of me, and it's really refreshing because not everyone is, but like to have someone like so close with me and who like really pushes me to do this work because like he knows that it makes me happy. It just really means a lot to me.
Right. I've met him before. He's a really cool guy. And it's always cool when you have somebody that's supportive like that on your team.
Oh yeah, he's the best.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, some people can handle it. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there who will look at it like, oh, not my girl. And there'll be other guys that will look at it like, well, she come home to me. You know, so that's all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She can look like that, but that's me. So
and like talking to him about it, I think like and he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but from what we've talked about, it's more of like this is a job. And it's like this is my professional realm, and at the end of the day, like I'm not like emotionally invested in selling nudes to people. You know, it's like I go home to my partner.
Right. So what's like the next level for your career that you see maybe wanting to take this whole thing?
Well, I have a set being released on Suicide Girls this week. So that's more of like a
what is that for anybody?
It's not what you think it is.
Make it clear.
Make it clear. Yeah. So Suicide Girls is like an online modeling site for specifically like alternative models. So it's like celebrating diversity in bodies and people, and saying that like you can be beautiful and have tattoos, or be big, or be small, or be agender, or be whatever you want to be.
Just be human, right?
Yeah, just be human.
Just be human.
And that's hot on its own. Yeah.
Right.
It is.
Ashley, would you ever do anything like that?
No.
No.
Nothing against what you do. I just don't have that confidence.
I'm just saying.
I have children.
Look, I've seen your comments. People might want to be ready for you to step into the underworld. I'm just saying. Why don't you talk to Miss Esma and see if maybe you might be able to get a little bit get in there.
Alternative for real, right?
So you gotta have different alternatives. You know what I'm saying?
But it's no pressure. It's no pressure. It's not for everyone. You don't have to do it, and it comes with a lot of it comes with downsides, and not everyone is prepared to deal with.
What's the downside?
Being harassed constantly.
Oh yeah.
So what's the average harassment situation with Miss Esmer? What's something that you?
I mean, like on the internet or like in real life.
I mean,
both.
Let us know, because I'm gonna ask her too. I know you get too.
Oh Jesus.
It's everything. It's all the time. I mean, it's being like a traditionally attractive, like thin white girl, like walking through the world, and like that everyone thinks they own your body all the time, especially if you are sharing your body on the internet. That's just like opening this whole new door of like, well, you put it there so it's mine, and I can say whatever I want about it, and it doesn't matter because it's on the internet, so everything I say is fake. And I've had some really nasty stuff said to me or messaged to me, but I've also had some really awesome like supportive, empowering people responding to the messages that I'm sending. So it goes both ways.
I'm gonna table this for right now because I'm gonna get back to this main conversation in a minute. We're gonna go to a quick 3-minute break on RainierAvenueRadio.world. If you guys are with us on Facebook Live, stay with us. We're gonna be sitting here chilling for a minute, 3 minutes, and then we're gonna get back to the main discussion right here on Urban World Talk Live. Because I want to get more into the people being nasty, being mean.
To both of these ladies.
Both of these ladies. These ladies go through it. All right. Yeah. Be back. 3 minutes, guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I was like,
Thank you for making it. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that.
You guys keep hanging in here.
Yeah, you actually got here earlier than I thought.
Yeah, I was like 4 or 5. Yeah.
Did you take an Uber or did you?
I did. Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna die. I just want to take a
Learn how to
lift.
apply for public sector jobs with resumes, interviews, and NeoGov application process. For more information, go to nwpublicsectorcareers.eventbrite.com or visit our website.
Turn up your radio wherever you at. We about to bring it.
And then just share that to your page, and then just say, hey, I'm a special guest. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like because a lot of that shit like is really real. I don't mix like my personal shit.
Well, I was gonna say, if you want to go live on Instagram,
I could. I don't even know.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
Plus, you know, you can kick it with me, D-Money and Andy Coach. Every Wednesday night, 9 to 11.
Now, somebody said it was lagging too. I didn't know.
Yeah, somebody said the video was lagging.
The lagging stuff, let me know. How's it clear? How's it working for you guys right now?
Turn the volume down.
How's it working? Clear.
He is all up in the can.
There was a notification. I wanted to see what it was. I wanted to see what the notification was. You guys hang with us. You guys like, share the video, comment, stay with us. We only got like a minute left. We'll be right back.
Yeah. Hey, turn you on in 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Here we go.
Coming back. That was
Check us out on social media. Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter. And Rainer
Hey, Jessica's watching.
Mike's on.
All right. Yeah, that's classic right there.
Yeah,
that's classic. That's my generation.
Hey,
real quick. Speaking of generation, Rainier Avenue Radio, this awesome station that we do, they're going to be doing a tribute to Cube 93 this upcoming weekend. It premieres. Go to RainierAvenueRadio.world. Again, RainierAvenueRadio.world to check for show times. And they're interviewing people from like the blast and past. We're talking B Mello, Mary White, Julie Pilot. People, the names I haven't heard in years. And it's going to be a retrospective. I'm going to tune in and listen. So please make sure you tune in and listen to. Real quick, want to give a special shout out to our homegirl, Jessica Vaughn, watching. Hey, Jessica. What's going on, sweetie? You're going to love this conversation that we're having.
All right, and we want to welcome everybody back once again on Facebook Live and RainierAvenueRadio.world. This is Urban World Talk Live. We are talking about women. We're talking about misconceptions about women. We're talking about double standards. We're talking about guys that's not doing right towards these ladies and all of that good stuff. We want to welcome everybody for joining us. You guys go ahead, like, share the video, and keep commenting as we're going on. And we want to, if you guys are listening on Rainier Avenue Radio, keep listening because we got a good conversation. So we were just talking to Miss Esmer, and once again, this is Teri Youngman, Anthony Adams, Ashley King join us again, and Miss Esmer. She is a model, internet sensation who does a lot of cool stuff with her pictures and photos and modeling stuff. And we've been talking to you because you were talking about some of the issues and some of the downsides of the whole thing that you do, because she does a very extreme, a very, very, edgy style of modeling. And, some people might get the wrong idea. And they do a lot of times, and that's sometimes you have to deal with that. So, and she's telling us a little bit about that. So sometimes she says people kind of maybe are a little bit harassing you on the social media stuff. And
like rude comments, rude messages. That's pretty standard for like the entire community. Like if you're doing stuff like this, like if you're posting this kind of content, it's unfortunate that there's almost like an assumption that this comes with the area,
right?
Because it's like it sucks, but I mean, like, I don't know. And it's entirely dudes. It's entirely guys.
Is it guys? Is it only guys?
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever get harassed by a girl in any kind of way?
No.
Really?
I've never been harassed by a girl on the internet. Yeah.
How long?
Is it mainly like a lot of positive feedback from women that you get?
Yeah, no, all the time. I got messages being like, thank you so much for, like, your empowering content. I got people sending me, like photos that they've taken of themselves where they're like, I feel really beautiful in this photo. Like, you've, like, inspired this. And it's super heartwarming. It's really impactful for me.
That's big.
And see, look, this is amazing. Guys, come on, man. We got to do better, man. We always got to look back. I was like hoping at least she said, well, every now and then. She said, no, it's always guys. Come on, y'all. We got to do better. Now, Miss Ashley, I know just being a lovely lady yourself, you deal with a lot of different stuff. What happens with you sometimes just on social media without even having to be a model in that same vein like she's doing? You have pictures that you put up that you just like to put up. What happens?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the same situation. I get harassed. And when you say harassed, I don't know if you mean that they're like being rude to you or what, that specifically, but people will say to me things like, they'll make comments about my body, and you can always put the professional stamp on it, right? Because it's your job. So you can always back it with that. I can't do that. So anytime I take a picture and I post it, regardless, I took a picture. I was on my way to church, guys. I was in my church clothes. 1,100 something likes. All these comments talking about
1,100.
The nastiest stuff. I'm like, what they would do to me? Why?
Whoa.
Right. No. And I get talked about for taking these pictures, and I'm like,
on your way to church, huh?
I was going to church.
She was trying to pray.
I had to pray twice that day.
Y'all wrong.
But I get the same type of harassment. It's really only on social media. I don't think.
Is it always guys or is it girls with you sometimes?
You gotta have some women haters.
So I don't know, because one of my Facebook pages I don't have women on.
Oh, okay. It's just what a man.
Unless they follow me. I don't have to be followers.
I'm sure you ain't trying to step into that.
I don't know. But, I mean, women are never bold enough to say it to me. Like, people have altered my pictures and folded them around. One girl made me look like a Buick, like she blew me up.
What?
Yeah. People steal my pictures and stuff, so it's a different type of crazy. And I'm like, I'm just Ashley. Like, why do you even know me? I mean, who am I to you?
And because of that competition with women, we just like feel really obligated to like tear each other down for our own devices. But it's trash. We should never be doing that.
Now we're talking about double standards too. Now, Miss Edward, if I was to go into the underworld myself and maybe strip down a little bit. Now look, why you gotta laugh? Why we laughing, Anthony? I'm saying, I don't understand what's funny. I'm
laughing because you've been my boy for about 6 years now, right?
You see what I
did?
And
just seeing you do that.
You see what I deal with here? Now look, I'm talking to maybe dressing
up as the gift from Pulp Fiction.
Why I got to be the gift? Why I got to be the gift? Now see, look, I'm saying I'm
Terry and I rip on each other all day.
I know we know if anybody here is gonna have an apple in their mouth, it's gonna be you. Let's get real. Let's get real. You're gonna have an apple in your mouth. You're gonna have that. No, I'm just saying. Now, if I was gonna be a guy who was coming and I wanted to do a little bit, do you think I would get the same kind of like looked down upon in the same way if I was doing art? You know what I'm saying? I was coming out and I was showing a lot. Do you think that they would look at me the same way, like shaming and all that kind of stuff like that?
I think it would be a different type of disapproval, like in different ways, and because at the core of it, like a lot of the type of modeling that I do is sex work, and it's like, and a lot of people look at that as it's not just like owning my sexuality, it's selling it, and that adds like a different element to it. So I think if you were to do what I'm doing, it would still be considered like very frowned upon by a lot of circles.
Right.
Okay.
And just for the record, when you say that, you're not like actually like you're not getting paid to be intimate with people. You're just selling your portraits.
No, I'm not.
Okay, we just want to clear it. We just want to clear that up. Yeah, definitely want to clear that up.
Yeah.
Definitely
but it is. But I've done like a lot of different types of sex work, and like I think that there's no shame in it, and it's a real job, and a lot of men do it, a lot of trans folks do it, a lot of people of color. It's like it's all different. Like it's a very diverse field because we're all just hustling.
Do you know a lot of guys that do the same type of picture you do?
Not the same type of pictures, but I know guys that are sex workers.
Right. They do a little bit.
Well, Terry, you have the body way better than me, so you can definitely pull it off.
Oh, right. See now, I don't know. Now I don't know which way.
Terry's staying in the gym.
No. I got a dad bod. Don't have me get up here.
I'm trying to get that Vin Diesel dad bod, that Rick dad bod.
No, so we deal with this kind of stuff all the time with men and women, and they automatically, is it actually, when you take pictures and things like that, you said that people, you ever have somebody come up to you and think that you're something that you're not, just based on some pictures they may have seen?
I definitely.
I seen some pictures and they said, I ain't saying that.
Listen, I definitely have guys who will not probably say it out loud, but who just in their demeanor and the way they present themselves come across as pimps. Right?
Like pimps?
Pimps. Oh. Absolutely. I guess that's still a thing. I don't know. But definitely.
It is something. They just don't wear the big color suits.
Well, yeah. And they come across like they're trying to help me fix my life. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what's wrong with my life? Let me get you in the right direction. If you need this. I'm like, if y'all going somewhere with all that. So that's
come up with them fake Versace shirts.
Yeah, and like everything they say is, I feel like I'm talking E40. Like, what is even, everything rhymes, it's a riddle, and I don't got time.
What's going on, Tenderoni?
Yeah, that can help.
Once you come back to the house and you can make some macaroni with cheese.
I hate
I'll even use the word
really how it is.
Hey, look, let me check out some of these comments we got.
All right, so some of the comments that we got here. Let's see here.
We saw that one. That's why you said that.
Okay. All right, let's see here. So Jessica says, hey, and then she said, asked her what's her IG, sent her the IG, and then she said, got it. It's definitely edgy, the work you do. And then she says, here's how to have a sexy body, be comfortable in your own skin. That goes for men and women. And then Lydia says, of course, Terry's body's perfect.
Hey, now look, I don't know, she might have some personal experience with that. I don't know. I wouldn't say anything. No, okay, so look, ladies. She knows. The wife knows. The wife knows. She knows. So ladies, so we're saying that you get the negative attention like that. Now, it's funny because like as a guy, you said you get 1,100 comments on likes on a picture or something like that. I ain't never had that many likes in my life on a picture. I mean, I'm thinking like it's a good thing, but then you guys have to look into it, and then there's a lot of negative stuff that they're being said and stuff like that. Now, do you think that though that there is? We are talking about double standards. They go both ways. Do you think that there's like there can be guys that sometimes are just flirting where you don't really, and it doesn't get looked at the same way as if a lady flirts with a guy? You think that happens a little bit? Like if something like the ways that guys
You mean like if a guy said something to a girl and a girl turned around and said the same thing to a guy, are they perceived the same? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'm gonna say
think about some raunchy comments that
I'm gonna
you
say
get.
probably not. Guys are a little bit more aggressive. You know what I'm saying? When they say things, it can come across as aggressive. Whereas if a woman says it, guys like their ego stroked. Guys like to, get that little chest out moment. Terry just had one, so he knows what I'm talking about. Right?
Not all the way out. Not all the way out. I told you I gotta step into the underwear or whatever. We might say it with your chest.
But I think that's maybe where it can get crossed up.
Yeah, I want to also real quick want to welcome everybody once again on RainierAvenueRadio.world. Everybody continuing to watch us here on Facebook Live. Remember to hit that like button, the share button, continue to comment, keep the conversation going.
Yes,
so yeah, sometimes it is, but there are some times where like some of the things that like if you said the same thing, like somebody who look at your picture and maybe be like, damn, blah 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 blah. It would come off differently if a woman was saying it to a guy. I think. Do you think so?
It would be a compliment. I know for me.
More like a compliment. I wouldn't be tripping. Do you think like maybe it's because of like the rape culture in the world that maybe everything that guys say it takes a different weight to it when it comes to that kind of stuff? Just because of the way.
Possibly, but then also in my experience, and maybe this is off subject, so reel me back in if I'm wrong. But I feel like women aren't as aggressive, not in a bad way, but like they don't come out and give as many compliments. They don't approach men the way that men approach women. So if a woman says that to you, yeah, it's a compliment because maybe you don't hear it a lot, or maybe you don't, hear it in that tone. But for as a woman, the other way around, she might have heard that 1,700 other times that day, and I'm like, ew. At that point, you shut it down. It's
interesting you say that because I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was a joke that Chris Rock said on one of his stand-ups where he said the reason why it's so easy for women to turn down men is because every guy you met ever since you were in your teens has been trying to get with you. And he's like, women get offered love 20-something times a day. It's like, every time a guy's trying to be nice to you, well, he didn't say love, but
keep it PG.
It's PG. We're on the radio. Come on.
I remember that one.
But still, yeah, he said that. But he was saying, he's like, when men get offered it, we think, well, damn, maybe it's our lucky day.
So, that's what I'm saying. So that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. So maybe that could be why. But yeah, the rape culture probably feeds into it too. I don't personally feel that way if a man compliments me, but
I think there's a power dynamic. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say? Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I guess I think that there's always there's a power dynamic and an expectation of sorts that that a lot of the time if you're gonna say something, there's gonna be a positive response, and I think a lot of the issue comes in when if you don't respond in the way that a man wants you to, that's where a lot of the issues arise, and yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's and there are cases upon cases upon cases of a woman doesn't respond positively to a man's advances, and now she's dead, or now she's been assaulted, or I don't know, just verbal assault too. Yeah, just verbal assault. Yeah, and it's
as little as that.
Yeah, it sucks. It's unpleasant, and it's I'm sorry. If I don't know, and it's if you're saying something that I think is nasty, and I'm not gonna respond positively to that, and you're gonna get upset, and yeah, it does go both ways, but if a woman said something nasty to you and you didn't respond positively, the likelihood of her attacking you is very different.
well, I don't know. I don't know. No, it's not. No, I get what you're saying. I definitely understand what you're saying. Now, do you guys?
Her response is gonna be, "You ain't gonna buy me no drink. I just said you was fine."
What? Who did that to you?
Yeah, look, that was a personal
that sounded real personal.
Yeah. No, I've had a few drunk ones do a few drunk. I'll just say this. Now there's been times because it just hits me sometimes. I just remember stuff. There's been some times where if I wanted to, I'd be like, that's harassment. That the stuff that guys be getting in trouble for. Yeah. A lot of that same stuff has happened. I've personally had it happen. I mean, I've had my butt grabbed plenty of times out of the club by some ladies. I'm just saying.
We don't play with you right now, Terry.
I'm just saying it's happened. I'm just saying it does happen. Me too. Speaking of Me Too. Speaking of Me Too. This has been a year of more awareness.
This is the year of the woman.
Much more awareness when it comes to women and women's rights and people being treated fairly and things of that nature. Have you noticed any change in the last 12 months? Let's say since the Me Too thing. Last year around this time with Harvey Weinstein was when this stuff was really starting to really become a public movement for women. I feel like and especially since Trump's been in office and things like that.
Well, yeah, I was going to say go back to 2016.
Right.
I mean, the last almost 2.5 years have been the years of the women.
Have you guys noticed any difference maybe in the way that people are responding to you or acting towards you because of that? Is that changed at all? No? So, no.
I mean, but also, like I said, you can be anybody you want behind a computer or a phone. So what they say behind, a computer, and a lot of them are 3,000 miles away somewhere, maybe wouldn't say that to my face. So if I was in a position to be around people more in a face-to-face interaction, maybe. But.
Right. Let's look at some of these comments real quick.
Okay, yes. So speaking of the whole Me Too movement, Jessica brings up a good point. Oh, so first of all, let's go ahead and back it to Lydia here.
Back it up.
She says there are a lot of aggressive men out there. Yes, there are.
Facts.
Definitely facts. Jessica says, my brother is so terrified to approach women because he's afraid to offend a woman by complimenting her or buying her a drink. He is so afraid that anything he does will be taken wrong way. It's sad. That's why he is a successful single business owner.
Wow.
All right. And then Jessica also says there are so many creeps out there. It makes it tough for nice guys to meet people.
Absolutely.
Lydia says, well, and I agree with that. And I want to go back to something real fast. A few weeks ago, Henry Calvary, I believe his name is. Cattle. Superman. Recently released a statement, and he said, he's afraid to talk to women because of the whole Me Too movement. He got a lot of backlash for that, understandable. But at the same time, me being a guy and somewhat been in that situation before, I can understand.
What do you mean you've been in that situation before?
Where I've said, I've said, hey, how you doing, and then a girl's been like, you're a creeper, go away.
How'd you say it though?
I was like, hey, how you doing?
Did you have that little bit of bass in your voice? Was a little different.
I was like,
be real now.
I was like, hey, how you
standing over her.
I wasn't standing over her. I was like, hey, how you doing? She's like, fine, and then she's basically just, I was like, you're trying to make a little small talk, and she's like, you're a creeper. I'm like, I was just trying to have a conversation.
She said you were a creeper doing that?
Yeah, trying to call me a creeper. I'm like, dang, okay.
Right, man.
I mean, next time I'll just be aggressive. What is your name? Come here.
No, don't do that.
No, don't do that. No. But like I get what Henry was saying is that he's afraid now because it's like he wants to go over and say hello to a woman, but at the same time now because there's so many bad. There's a few bad apples in the bunch. Unfortunately, give it a bad name to where you just say hi to somebody and then they're like, He did this to me, and it's like, no, all I did was just say hi.
I will say this. I think that since the entire awareness has been raised in the country with the Me Too movement and everything like that, I have definitely examined and gone back and thought to myself, like,
oh, absolutely.
Was I ever over the line? Now I can say, and with the straight face and all honesty, I don't think I ever really crossed the line. I was always kind of more like, let them come to me kind of thing. But that's always like to me like. I don't ever really like. I like to give you a little bit, but if you're not giving me a wink, a smile, or something like that, I've never been the one to go chase overly. That's just been me.
If you don't bat an eyelash at me,
right? If it's
I used to be like that too. Mind reader. You gotta call me over.
I'm not a mind reader, so I'm not gonna just. I've never been the guy to just be like, hey girl, what's up? You want this? I never, what I'm saying? I've never been like that. But I know, I know a few of them that was. I can say something right now. I ain't gonna put nobody on blast. Like I'm telling you, I ain't gonna put you out there. But I got some homies that I used to be like. And now when you think about this up now, I'd be like, whoa, you.
Well, dude. I mean, we said this before in a past. You and I said this before in a past episode. We grew up in the 90s and the 2000s. We were raised on rape culture, and that is, the things that we would never do to a woman today. Back then, was normal. I mean, you go back to look at that movie The Wood, where he does the bet with his friend. He says, "I'll give you $1 to grab her butt." Oh yeah, I mean, dude, that was so common at the skating rink growing up. I mean, I never participated in it, but I would see dudes do that. I'm like, okay, I can't do that.
I want to ask the lady something real quick right here. So we're talking about this right now, and just so somebody might not know. What was something that you've been approached by? What was a situation where you've been approached by somebody in person where it was over the line and the way that they approached you and something that they said to you? Let's start with you, Isma.
Oh man,
So right off the top, I'm sure you got a lot.
I'm like sorting through it.
Oh man,
right now.
She got categories and
Right,
files.
she's rolling it right now. Yikes.
I mean, I think a lot of just like I don't know, like general street harassment that like actually is harassment. It's not just like because like I do think that there's a huge difference between somebody like being friendly and like trying to talk to you and just like really really pushing it. And I think I've definitely been in situations where I felt like someone felt like unsafe, like the way that someone was like interacting with me or like talking to me, like someone that's like really in your face, or like offering you like something weird, like just like being aggressive. A lot of it's like body language, you know. And so it's like if you come at me and you're just like being like really genuine and nice, like you can usually tell. And I think like some people are very defensive, and like I get where you're coming from, but it's like not everyone's gonna attack you, but like some people really like have that vibe about them where they're just like got one thing on my mind and like you know what it is, and that can be really just like disturbing.
Off-putting, all that. Ashley, what's a time that you can remember? I'm sure you got plenty of them. I'm sure you do.
I like the assumptions, Teri.
Look, I'm just saying. I'm sure that I just know. I know as a lady. I've seen enough of my boys in action to just know that that's got to be a regular thing.
You need new friends.
Trust me.
No.
See, I'm not gonna let I ain't gonna let her get away with that because any guy, I'm gonna be right. Any guy who listens to this right now, you got boys just like me that you know the same thing about. All of them. They ain't saying about you. I guarantee you.
Okay.
There was a few like me, but I wasn't that guy. Not to stepping over the line. But when you had it's something that was an interaction where you were just like, come on now. That's way too much.
Fun fact about me, I used to be a dancer. Long time ago. Long.
What do you mean by dancer?
Long, many times ago. I took my clothes off for money.
Oh.
I used to be a stripper a long time ago. I was 19. I lived in Arizona. So it was not a sex work.
I don't know.
Hold on. Wait,
that's
how homework is started.
I'm just asking to understand.
Let her finish the story, bro. Let her finish.
No, she's not. Stripping to be sex work?
I mean,
that's what I was saying. Because I think some people put that in the same...
Maybe an umbrella. Maybe an umbrella.
Okay, but go ahead, finish.
Definitely, strange things go on in strip clubs, but I wasn't a part of the shenanigans.
Okay.
But, I mean, I think that just speaks for itself. Being in a strip club, men, they're drunk, they're aggressive, they feel like their $20 can buy them the world, and if you've ever seen, Players Club or anything similar to that, you kind of know what can happen when men, they feel entitled. They feel entitled when you're in those situations. Yeah. So I can't even begin to tell you how many times I've been aggressively snatched.
Out of the club, though, because I mean, I think we all kind of consider that would be a place that would be more, let's just say out and about. You
would like to go with the mall.
Yeah, I mean like that, more to that level, because I guarantee you, I know that probably happened a lot in the club, but I mean...
one time, it was weird. I was actually pregnant with my son. I was in the mall with my son's father, and these 3, maybe 4, like D4L rejects walked up around me, and that's how they were dressed. They looked like Laffy Taffy. Anyways, so they walked up around me in a circle, and they were like, looking me up and down, and one of them finally was like, "What's that?" Like literally, they were.
Were you in Tacoma?
I felt like, was I in Tacoma? No.
She's like,
but I felt like they were vultures on me, right? And they're
which your man?
My son's father was there, and I was like, y'all just really don't care. I mean, he's a little thing, but God, he ain't no punk.
No respect, nothing. Yeah.
Let's get some of these comments.
All right, we're going to get last few round of comments here. Okay, first and foremost, we got Jessica saying here. Let me slide up. Shoot, my thing is messing up. Okay, here we go. Jessica says he shouldn't get backlash for how he feels. It's how he feels. He has a right to feel that way. Of course, talking about Henry. She also says self-reflection is important, and I think it's a byproduct of the Me Too movement. Yeah. Anna, what's up, Anna? She's going to be here next week. Has said, I've had instances where I have been followed to my apartment, and I've had to figure out a way to stay safe. The messed up thing about these kind of situations is that logically, if someone is invading my space, I should be able to tell them, leave me alone, right? Yes, you should. Plain and simple. But when it comes to these situations, it's messed up, and sometimes we have to grin, smile, and bear and go along with it. And to the extent, she also says, just walk away and be safe. We have to be okay with harassment.
Yeah, I mean, you guys.
Unfortunately, it sucks. Yeah, it shouldn't be that way.
Some tasers and some karate classes and all that.
Don't assume I don't have any of that. Please don't make that assumption.
Well, what if we're always talking about like the ways that like we like want women to defend themselves, and like I totally agree. It's like I want to like I need to like take a self-defense class, you know, and like carry tasers and pepper spray, and it's all self-defense, and then like that's sick, that's tight. But at the same time, like if we're gonna talk about that, we also like absolutely have to talk about like reconditioning men and like teaching men from a really young age like that like I shouldn't have to carry a taser so you don't attack me in the streets. You should just behave yourself.
No, I definitely agree with that. So let's start with that. Let's start with what do you think is some of the things that can start being taught to you got a son, I mean, you know, I don't know if you have any kids or anything like that, but I mean, you know, one day you might. What are some of the ways we might need to start teaching these young boys at a young age to start, you know, looking at women in a different way?
Stop letting social media raise your children. It starts at home. I think people have to raise their own kids. People talk about how violent video games are. They talk about the content of social media, music videos, and everything else. But you have to be the stand in the gap. You have to be the barrier between your child and the world. And you have to condition them and raise them up right and show them those values. Have healthy relationships around them. You know what I mean? You can't let them just kind of free bird out there and they're 8, 9, 10 years old. They're impressionable at that age. Right. So, and they don't know, you know what I mean? Right. So don't let other people raise your kids.
It definitely starts at home. As for somebody in your position who you do the kind of work that you do, you have the portfolio that you got, and you're out there all the way, head to toe. Yep. You know what I'm saying? You're all the way out there. How do you think that there's a way that, is there any kind of way that men can maybe be conditioned to start thinking differently about somebody like that, even if it doesn't matter how many clothes I got on, still respect me? Is there any way that might be able to change? Or is that always going to be something that's just always going to be looked at?
No, I mean, I think that there's so many ways that we can fix this problem, but I think that it really starts with men talking to other men, and I think that like you were talking about, like you got some homies that like are being really inappropriate, and like
talk to
them. No, seriously, because like if they're being like just really crazy in the club, like or in whatever situation, like, and if you feel uncomfortable with that, like imagine how like the girl they're talking to feels. So like you need to walk up and be like, hey, sorry, my friend is like being awful right now, like we're gonna talk about this, like, and like we're gonna walk away and talk about why that behavior wasn't okay.
Hey, for real, I've had, just to that same point, I will say I've had, but maybe not as many times as I should have. There's been a couple of times though where I did have to pull somebody on the side, like, man, look, I don't even know what's wrong with that guy right now. You know that it does happen, and we do definitely got to speak up.
A lot in college.
We definitely got to speak up for our people. Definitely got to speak up on it. Well, we're gonna start getting ready to wrap it up real quick here. Miss Ashley, I'm gonna start with you real quick. You know, want to thank you for coming back on.
Thank you for having me.
See you a lot more. Get a lot more.
I need snacks next time.
We got some water. We're getting better. We're on a budget.
What's the time? What's the time?
Miss Esmer, tell us a little bit about where people can catch you and catch some of your work.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram as Esmerism, ESMERISM.
And the link is, and real quick, the link is in the comments on our Facebook Live page right now. Go ahead.
So that's Esmerism.
And then where else can they like find like your photos and stuff as well if they want to buy them?
Yeah, it's mostly like if you go through Instagram, you can find like a lot of my content is for sale. It's also just up. I mean, like I'm on like sites like Suicide Girls and stuff like that, but for the most part, I'm like centrally located on Instagram.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna check that out.
Thank you, ladies, for coming in. Yes. Facebook.com/DJA Adams. Next week I will not be here because it's my birthday week, and I'm gonna be in the city of sin, Las Vegas. But with that being said, Teri, I'm not gonna leave you empty-handed. Our girl Anna is gonna be back with us again next week. She's gonna be sitting in for me, co-hosting as well. And then on September 15th, Batman Day, I'm gonna have a review of the DC streaming universe service.
We're going to be ready for that.
Yes.
Batman Day. Look out for that. I got a review coming up. I got one for Crazy Rich Asians. That should be up tomorrow. Check that out. And we'll be back next week. As always, thank you guys for joining us. Remember to continue to like and share this video. Thank you for joining us. RainRabbitRadio.world, Facebook Live. This is Urban World Talk Live with Teri Youngman. I'll be back next week. Until next time, peace out.
Okay, mics are off. All right.
Are you a poet, spoken word artist, or storyteller?
That was fun. That was good. That was a good show.
Another good show.